I don't want to stop stalling. I don't want to rip off the Band-Aid. I don't want to think about this team. I don't want it. This team has been nothing but pain, misery, swift kicks to the dick. Let me see if I can find here. Let me see if I can find the GIF. Let me see if I can find the GIF that sums this up really quickly. Let me see. Here we go. Here we go. I found what I was looking for. I found what I was looking for. When I think about what this franchise mode has been, this is the GIF. This is it. Right here. This is going to be my webcam. This has been this series. This is what we've been doing. This is it. This is all we got. There you go. That's gonna be. There you go. That's our home now, as we are in control of the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's it. That's all we get. Enjoy. That's the rest of the series. We're never simming another day. This is just here. This is us now. Here we are. All right. Well, at least that'll be useful for later. Anyway. Last time out, we won 60 games in the regular season, and we lost to Pittsburgh in 5 in the first round, including losing Game 5 on home ice 8-0. We got some changes to make. Is it Pirates bad? It's, yeah. It's pretty close. Los Angeles has the #1 overall pick. Islanders move up from 5 to 2. Congratulations for them. God damn. I see Cam York with 113 points. Better yet, 118. David Pastrnak retires, top 5 in goal scoring. We have played this for so long that Mitch Marner has won a Stanley Cup in Columbus and retired. William Nylander also retired. We held on to him for longer, though. Michael Bunting has retired. Defensively, Thomas Chabot, Shea Theodore, numerous others are gone. Thomas Chabot over 1,000 points in his career, which is fantastic. And in goal, Vasilevsky, Jari, Sorokin, Matt Murray. A 25-year-old goalie retired. You don't see that every day. The goalie that Endo out-dueled for their Calder Cup once upon a time. Pride of Quinnipiac. Okay. I don't know what we're going to do here. You know that. I've said that. I feel the same way as I did last night. Nashville wants to trade the 6th pick. We're going to start off by really kind of double checking options that are available to us in this draft and taking it from there, seeing if it's worth trading up, so on and so forth. Doesn't look like a great draft for goaltenders. So, a couple of fringe guys weren't that bad. Defensively, might take a risk on that guy, but I doubt it. That guy's a medium elite. That guy's a medium elite. 3 out of 4 medium elite. Then you get into the 2s. Oh, boy. Got some medium 4s. Trade everybody. Well, hey. That might be exactly what's about to happen. I still don't know. So, patience. Because you might be getting your wish. For now, we're going to pin every player that we might consider taking. And then we will take it from there. Even now, I'm thinking about our roster. Who we might want to get rid of. And just how this could go. Just how this could go. I've reached the maximum amount of players that we could pin. Interesting. I didn't know there was a maximum. I didn't know you're doing a Leaf franchise and I'm a Leafs fan. I'm sorry and I'm sorry. Because we haven't won anything and nor have the Leafs. Alright. Well, we can contemplate trading up. That guy does have third eye. Isaiah Clemenson might be okay. Marcos Chan. It is probably worth trading up to 6. I don't know if we'll trade up twice. Trading up twice looks pretty risky. It does not look like the best draft I've ever seen. So Nashville... Honestly, the value of the pick, though. It's probably not worth the player that we're going to get back in return. Even though they do want to trade the pick. So, that's not great. Oh, do we keep Sador after that poor of a playoff performance? Do we keep Makala now that he kind of cashed out? He's about to get a brand new contract. Honestly, I think we were in agreement. Based off of that poor performance, he could go. And it makes sense to use him for the 6th. He was so bad in just 2 playoff games. He was absolutely abysmal. Thought he might be worth pairing with Connor Bedard long term. I don't even know if I'm keeping Connor Bedard. That's where we're at right now. So if I could use Makala, who again is about to have a brand new contract kick in. If I can use him to get this pick, you could argue it's worth it. It probably isn't, but because honestly, you hope to draft someone who ends up being as good as this guy. But we have lower picks. I think we still have other, like Dempsey. We have some other like low end drafted talent. Do you have Ryan O'Reilly? We are in 2033, so he is long gone. Long gone. What about Houghton? Still not enough. All right, we are going to have to use a little bit more to pull this off, but tough to say it's not worth it. So it'll be Makala 2/3, a 4th, and Dempsey. Still not enough. Might have to be 3/3. God help me if I have to dip into the seconds. Is that enough? All right, well, we're not going to be able to pull off that trade. We're not going to be able to pull off that trade. So, Anaheim at 23 is the next time we'd realistically be able to trade up. And Philippe Boudreau might not be that bad. Lahonen's kind of average. Benoit's pretty average. Robioff. It's just a lot of average players in this draft. Might be worth, if we do trade assets, to trade them for picks next year. This draft looks terrible. Off of what we know. Off of what we know, this draft looks awful. So let's not focus on draft picks. Let's focus on our roster. In goal, Bardovich, Backstrom, Emerton all let us down. Emerton does not have a contract next year. Acquired Graves, who used to be ours. We're just going to be letting Emerton go. Backstrom and Bartovich are both RFAs. Backstrom had a 9-12 in the regular season and gave up 7 goals in his 1 appearance in the playoffs. Jay Hewson. Is that Jim Hewson? Joey Hewson. Let's go ahead and sim, honestly, to... Well, actually, here, let me take a look at the second round. Since we pretty much know we're not going to be able to have anybody half decent in the first round, let's look at the second round to see if there's anybody that we want to target here. What about Tristan Steckel, son of Dave, probably? Not that great. Andre Slager.
I'm just trying to
Not
walk
that great again. Colt, thank you for the follow, though. Appreciate it. Welcome in, and I don't have to welcome you to the pain. You already said you were a Leafs fan, so you understand. There are definitely players that we could pick up in this draft, but I gotta be honest, there's no one where it's like, yep, absolutely trade up and get that guy. So I'm not going to. We'll skip to our first pick, which is pick number 60. And that way we can start calling timeouts. Yeah, like we know there'd be a medium elite goalie in here somewhere. There was a low elite grinder and Nasir Connor, has honestly 3 of the worst abilities in Shrug It Off, Bounce Back, and Born Leader. Our scouts didn't even tell us about him. He's 20 years old as well, so. Then there's the elite goalie. A few chances to hit, but for the most part, not a great draft. So let's see. Let's see. Good trigger warning joke. Well done. Well done. All right. So goalie-wise, is there really any reason to hold on to Backstrom aside from him being an 85 overall? No. We can try Cheval Dave next year with the veteran free agent goalie until Cochran's ready. Second and the fourth from Los Angeles next year. Done deal. Backstrom, you are an LA King. Bartovich is the very, very disappointing one. Pretty good. Regular season, 919. He has 9 career starts with an 878 save percentage. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't keep him unless there's not a good return. And there's really not. It's only Seattle that wants him. Then it would be picking up Höglander or Terry and then flipping them. Let me double check their value. Let me double check their value. Terry has a bit more value than Höglander, even though he's older. Third and a fourth for Bartovich, and then whatever Troy Terry could fetch us. How can I trust him in the playoffs? You know? Everything says he should be good and that it would be a mistake to get rid of him, but how can we trust him in the playoffs? But we're not getting good value return for him. That's the big issue. That is the very big issue. We'll come back to that. Defensively, we know Colborne won't be back. We brought him in as a deadline rental for the second time. Unfortunately, this time he could not revive the magic that he had playing alongside Darnell Nurse once upon a time. Third and a fourth is the going rate. We'll send Colborne out to Anaheim temporarily. Hartman, we have to make a big decision. We got to make a big decision for this guy. He's an RFA. He's going to want like $6 million. He is not a $6 million defender. He simply isn't. He hits like a truck. He blocks a lot of shots. But I can't really get away with paying a defender $6 million if you're not going to put up points. Like I said, he is at least an RFA, which is why he has value, but he also has 33 penalty minutes in 30 games played in the playoffs. And it's very obvious we give up a lot of power play goals in the playoffs, even if we have a good PK heading into the postseason. So that's a pretty big issue. We'd have to find a proper trade for Hartman and for Bartovich. We have a decision to make on Cam York and Evan Bouchard. Do we think they're the guys, or do we cash out now because their value will never be higher, especially Cam York's? And I love Cam York. He has been amazing for us. He blew it in the playoffs. this time. He blew it. 2 points in 5 games, a -4. He's not a physical player. Didn't really block that many shots either. And then Bouchard, I mean, obviously is still very close to point per game caliber player. He was also pretty bad in the playoffs. Obviously, we have Ackerman in the system, but from there, it's a lot of medium top fours. If we were to move on from Bouchard, yeah, we'd have to find a trade there, too. We'd have to find a trade for pretty much all the big guns. Ling was very good this season. Roloff was good this season. Kostopoulos wasn't bad. Ackerman, Quint, Crooks are all in the system. Could try to cash out on Hicketts. I still don't know about Sador. Clapperton's a second liner. Coleman might end up being a second liner. Whole lot of penalty minutes out of Coleman and Weeks in the regular season. Even though these guys are supposed to be more defensively reliable, they take a lot of penalties. How to flip Makala. Second or third, and Anderson Dolan's expiring contract. A goalie named Jay Tavares. Can't get anything from Blumel. We picked him up off of waivers. I can't get anything for him. There's clearly a path where we can keep it together. Became a Leafs fan after the Blues traded Ryan O'Reilly to the Leafs. That was a terrible decision. Terrible decision. Although who knows, maybe the reason they finally made it past a round. You won't be a Leafs fan for too much longer. Ryan O'Reilly's definitely not going back at this rate. There is a clear path to keeping this team together. There is. But why? Why would we? Why would we keep this team together? Could bring back Rasmus Sandin, but I can't trade Michael Misa to the Boston Bruins. There is that part of my brain that just says run it back until it works, but doesn't seem like a very good decision, you know? Coyotes are trying to move on from some people. Feels like if we blow the team up every year and have some new concept every year, it never works. That's not what we've been doing, though. We've kept the same concept going every single year of keep the same core intact, and eventually it has to work. That's been our last 5 years. It's legitimately been our last 5 years. I think Iggy's in a trolling mood tonight, personally. Unfortunately... Oh, we can finally trade for Connor McDavid. It's a save on a cup. No. Not this past season, but the season before. We lost in the Stanley Cup final in 5. There's not that big name player. We might actually be stuck with this roster. That is true. We have a Calder Cup. 2. Outside of Myers and Schoenmakers, outside of this, Rampage, what's up, buddy? Good to see you back again. There's Heinonen on Vancouver. I mean, there's a couple of prospects, younger players here and there. There's not that elite level talent out on the open market, but Heinonen on Vancouver wouldn't be too bad. Wouldn't be too bad. Bedard, Shantz, Pedersen, Pratt, maybe Heinonen in there instead. Is there a trade that makes sense to send Michael Misa to the Vancouver Canucks? Take on Henry Muse's expiring contract. I don't know if we could get their first rounder next year, but I would certainly have to try. And honestly, I'd prefer draft picks next year. Heinen and Muse, a first, a second, and a third. Will that go through? Michael Misa is a Vancouver Canuck. For a prospect and picks, Michael Misa is a Vancouver Canuck. Say goodbye to Jar Jar. Let's hope he's better in the WHA series. We got the Canucks' first round pick next year. And again, hopefully this new prospect in Heinen can be something half decent for us. Tampa has Myers, Schoenmakers, two prospects I wouldn't mind picking up. I'm not against using Makala in this situation. You should play FHM. I do. I haven't played on stream in a while, though, but I do enjoy the game quite a bit. I actually have a promo code. I think it is just Tugi this year on their site for a discount. I have to double check that. It's been a little bit since we've hawked the promo code. I'm gonna add somebody to this deal to get it to go through, but I am good with getting rid of Makula. We'll take Brandstrom's dying contract. And can I safety net this for next year? First is going to be way too much. Honestly, Makula for two prospects and a third. Even a third's too much. What about that fourth? How about just the two prospects? Really? Didn't think I'd have to give anything up, but also Makula has that contract extension kicking in, and I want off the Titanic. There we go. So Makula in a fourth for two prospects, and Eric Brandstrom's cap hit, essentially. Makula's out to Tampa. He was so bad in the playoffs, there was no way. There was no way we could bring him back just to hope, well, maybe he'll turn out. Again, he was the guy that we bumped up from third line to top line. Then he started to struggle. Then he got hurt. Then he comes back for the playoffs and is a -5 in 2 games. No thanks. No thanks. That is another, solid squad addition that has completely failed us in this series. Completely failed us. I don't doubt that Makula will end up being very good in Tampa, but I'm fine with that. Did you end up winning the cup? Nope. We did not. I need to do one more look for prospects, just to see if anyone's changed their mind as of late. And if not, then we will see what happens next. Because I do have a plan in mind. 0 cup since the start of the mode. Correct. I do have a plan in mind. I feel like I'm going to have to try to follow that plan now. It's not looking too good. Yeah. Okay. We got enough younger players in the mix. Am I getting rid of Logan Cooley? Bedard, Shantz, Pedersen, Heinen, Schoenmakers. Whoever can really step into that role. Kuba, Wellwood. Obviously, Kuba's value is dropping because he's getting older. Bannock, Pritchett, Adika. We got Owens in the mix. Claverton, Coleman, Weeks. I'm just trying to decide how badly we're gonna blow this up. That's all. How far are we gonna go in blowing this up? And I think we're gonna go pretty far. There are a few teams I want to double check here. For the most part, I think I know what direction I want to go. Got to Jermaine Eastwood on Vegas. And left defenseman Sven Danielson. He's not a point getter at all. He's pure shutdown. Eastwood wouldn't be that bad, but Vancouver has Hornqvist. They also have Longweeder. Left wing. The German. Not a big point producer either. They were the ones to sign Dickinson. They have Hornqvist, but he's not a big point. Well, actually, he might be a big point guy. He's okay. He's okay. Pajärvi on defense. Jorgen Pajärvi, not bad. 50 points the last 2 years. Decent contract for the Swede. And there was Robin Ustorf, who was 4th overall a couple of years ago. He looks to be bang average. He's not going to be worth what they have to pay them. Or what he will get paid. Lack of a better term. There's a couple of other players that are interesting there. Nobody on Tampa outside of Pobazal, who was ours. And has finally started to figure it out, but still, I mean, he's a middle six option. That contract actually isn't that bad for a middle six option. The Blues have some younger players, to say the least. Thomas Vikingstad and Nicholas Christensen. Are they the ones? Could even pick up DeVries, but he's not great. Had enough. I've had enough of certain players not getting it done. Vikingstad and Christensen, as we are going to try to send Logan Cooley to St. Louis. We'll keep Shantz, Pedersen, Schoenmakers, Heinonen, Pratt in the mix. But I think I've had enough of Logan Cooley falling short. Can use Wagner in the deal. Dom Lalonde, what is going on? How the heck are you? Holmes as well. Couple of low elites, or this guy's not a low elite, but a medium 6. These guys aren't going to hit incredible heights in terms of ratings. And obviously we have players that have abilities that can fill in a little bit better. What are we looking like with these 3? They don't want to trade these 2. But I still wouldn't mind the deal. And the Blues have a real shortage of picks. Cooley, Wagner, and Holmes for Vikingstad, Christensen. If I take the picks out, I had a feeling I'd have to give up a little bit more. And that little bit more is going to be Bartovich. That little bit more is going to be Bartovich. They have Rathje signed for another year, but Swayman's up there. They can let go of Zherenko. Will help the Blues kind of transition into a new era for them. Cooley, Bartovich, Wagner, and Holmes for Vikingstad. Christensen, 2 5ths and a 6th. Still rejected. Still rejected. Still rejected. This is why we don't trade for players that don't often... Or this is why we don't often trade for players where the teams don't want to get rid of them. What about a third rounder from the Canucks? What about this pick here, number 60? We're not even going to be able to tear down the way we want to tear down. At least to get both of them. I prefer it to not be one of the 3 defenders. I have other plans there. Who has more value than Wagner? Richard Schoenmakers, Bannock, Roloff. He won't break. I believe he already retired. I believe he did. How about that first rounder from Vancouver next year? A lot to give up, but not really. This prospect is not going to make it. A goalie who can't stop a puck in the playoffs. First round pick we don't know yet. And we haven't won anything with Logan Cooley. You could argue, do we need the winger? At the moment, maybe not, but we might in a minute. We might in a minute. They've taken notice of your playoff history, apparently. They're a smart team. Safety net this a little bit. Take out a third. Cooley, Holmes, Bardovich in the first for Vikingstad. Christensen in the second. Still doesn't go through. About that third from Vegas this year. Straight up. Wow. I can't even tear this team down the way I want to. Fuck. Can't even tear it down the way I want to right now. Just gonna have to eat the loss on this. In terms of value. What about the second this year as well? We're so boned. We're so boned. We're just stuck. It's the only way to put it. We are absolutely stuck. Okay. Let's see what we got with this pick, if anybody. Abraham Sutter. Not that good. There is Jason Tapper. Not that good. Greg Gogol. Not that good. We're probably trading away the second rounder as well. Roberto Holloway. Yeah, we're trading away the second rounder. Fourth and a fifth. Fourth and a fifth. Jesus, the going rate's a fourth and a fifth. Third and a sixth. Wow. Third and a fifth from Ottawa. Guess we'll be taking a third and a fifth from Ottawa. It's not much of a return for a second round pick. I guess everyone else is aware that the quality of this draft is terrible. Okay. Well, we got options. They're not great options, but we have options. We might revisit St. Louis. For now. See who else is out there. Obviously, we know San Jose has quite the collection of talent that I am quite interested in. Quite interested in, indeed. We might go back to them in a minute. Philadelphia, their core is older. We'd be looking like Loxton and Von Arx. Could bring back Perry and Salmonen from Philadelphia. I bet they're having fun right now being off of the doomed ship Maple Leafs. Sanderson and Stutzla, but they're getting up there. Cato's their best option. How'd Matvei Michkov do as a Ranger? Career best season is what he did. We might actually have to move this team. We might actually have to move them. So Winquist and Houston. Houston, not Houston. On the New York Islanders. And Ernest Borrow could be a shout. Islanders are an interesting one right now. Islanders are a very interesting one. Nashville has Tubert, but nobody else really. Montreal, the core is too old. Outside of Mitchell, who just won Rookie of the Year, but we'd also have to look at like Josh Madano, who's not necessarily bad.
I'm just trying to walk through this fucking grass.
Shout out to Bakesy for the follow. Welcome to me losing my mind. Montreal's not that bad. Montreal, New York. Wilson Mallet or Melee, perhaps, is not that great. There's George Oshie. I think once upon a time won a championship. There are a couple of players on Los Angeles as well. We're gonna have to look at this more in depth. Obviously, Ottawa is about to make their pick. But I mean, the Islanders have options. Anaheim, Alfredson, Higgins. Well, Alfredson could be a decent point producer. Look at Louis Vara. 199 penalty minutes. And Roy Boyer. Also a boatload of penalty minutes. That's kind of the story for Higgins and Alfie as well. They're not bad, but the amount of penalties taken are a bit concerning. Go talk to our old friend, the Arizona Coyotes, yet again. Austin Matthews. Looks like his contract is up since he's not listed as one of their top players. And then Tony Kiprasov was who they got in the draft last year. He had 61 points in the AHL, which is very, very good. Bruins don't have the assets to pull off that big trade. Sabres have Korolev as the best prospect, my God. There's Ladd, DeBoer, Odie Marchessault. These guys aren't it. I mean, Ladd, we don't know yet. He was literally just drafted. Carolina has Max Bowman, who might be okay. Sontag, who's okay. Streets, okay. Yeah, there's not the best options there. Like Reyes, Delmore. I mean, high penalty minutes just seem to be a theme amongst younger players, which is pretty concerning. Forsberg, we don't know how good he is going to be. They just took Pierre Cormier. There are definitely options. Shout out to Matthew Nyes, who became an 88. He wasn't going to do that on our team. Eagle is 27. He's paid a good amount. Got an Alexiev. Not the worst for Detroit, but that could really backfire given how good Detroit's been. Obviously, too, there's been a lot of talk of, hey, go out and get Sebastian Casa. Trust me, I've thought about it. I've thought about it a lot. And that might be what happens here. Really. I just didn't think we'd have this much trouble kind of finding options for me to potentially blow this up. I mean, Alexiev, Casa, Hakala, it's not that bad. Edmonton, Clark, that's about it. Again, McDavid's a UFA this year, so They have Javon Richmond. Just went 4th overall. They have him in Florida, but nobody else of a super high level. At least that's younger. Kings have Willie Champion, who just went 1st overall. Mallet wasn't a big point producer. Oshie could be okay. Not Jahika. I feel like Detroit would probably be better for us. Minnesota. And it was Montreal with Mitchell and Madano, which isn't that bad. I want to go back to the Islanders. Yeah, because Nashville only had Tubert. We're looking for blockbusters here. We are looking for blockbusters. And much like the old rental store, they're more difficult to find in modern times now, aren't they? Think I know what direction we're going. Especially since the Blues wanted to be so difficult about Christensen and about Vikingstad. I think we're going to look in a couple of other spots. Again, these players on Vancouver aren't the best. They're not the worst, though. And again, we just traded them Michael Misa. There was Eastwood. Danielson's just a concern on defense, but Eastwood on Vegas isn't that bad. Well, Michael Misa's already gone. And it's about to get a lot worse. Makala's gone as well. The pain's just beginning, chat. I think I know where we're going with this, and it's not going to be pretty.